Greetings, technology enthusiasts. I am Chandrahas and I am delighted to be here with you representing CyberBrainer. Do you not believe that the technology sector is advancing at an unprecedented rate, making this an opportune moment to acquire the skills that will facilitate your progress? With CyberBrainer, we are empowering you to take control of your own future. At CyberBrainer, we do not merely impart your interests. We assert that information is power, yet it is the application of knowledge that distinguishes you. Our courses are meant to equip you with essential skills, whether you are pursuing data science, understanding artificial intelligence, or delving into cybersecurity. Let us commence the session and seize the future today. Thank you.
Now, when all things are done, now it's time for publishing the dataset. What is publishing? Throughout the working which we did till now, this all kind of working won't fall under. Still, it's not available to the general public. Let me show the lineage. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I see the graph. Yes. This graph basically represents this is called as lineage. What does lineage mean? We already covered that thing, but I will just explain it again. Lineage is basically an understanding of the data flow. Always the data will flow from left to. Here the arrow is also there, which signifies the data flow. Data will flow always from this left side to the side. Here, this is a complex lineage and this is one and easiest lineage. If I explain about the complex lineage, that data, that is current data, if I go to here, I can see that there are other connection as, let me close this for repeating. When you work as a Prism consultant, your work will look this. You might require to create multiple data sets, depending on the definition requirements. There's no one step or any particular solution that you have to work on this particular only limited data set. You might end up creating around 40-50 data set as depending on the requirement. It is important that when you get into a new project, you can understand a project by seeing the lineage first. That, what is the data flow? And that is, it is very important to name it very correctly, that if I name it TVL ESG mapping rules and supply direct emission, and here I can know that this table will consist of mapping rules and this will consist of supply direct emission. Correct? Then after this is a table. Here I am getting the data and storing the data, and here I am doing some consolidation or transformation over here. After going ahead, I am doing union of all of this. Then after that I am ingesting this data into a table, that is, I am storing into a table and doing further workings. By this I will have a better understanding regarding where the data is flowing and how it is working. When this union When we do this union over here, I'm just giving a suggestion. There might be a join as, but I'm just giving a macro picture, but how we analyze the lineage. When we do this thing over here, all the lineages are getting concentrated over here. It might be either a union or it might be either a join. There are two possibilities to join all these data set and tables. Later on here it's written as enriched spend data. It seems that they have enriched this particular thing over here and they are using table for storing it and they're using it as a one table solution for it. Furthermore, it is then providing data to this DDS and also it is providing that they are data to this DDS as it's better. When we do the analyzation, it's very important that you first do 1A. Lineage based if there is an existing data. The existing data sets or tables available. Where the data flows from where. Once that's done, then you can go to each and every DDS and do a more detailed examination of it. Why they created the data set. Why they did this, created a data set. It might be that they might have performed any particular transformation on this side. There are chances for it. Then here, when they did a join, what was their logic? Did they did a join or they did a union? It's up to them. What did it? It helps you because it's not always that you will be creating everything from scratch. You can take this an assignment. You can note it from this piece. Supplier sustainability and you can try an understanding that what they are doing. What steps are they doing? It will have a clear understanding because there are chances that you will be working on existing things which are already created. These are the steps. First of all, understand the lineage that which data will flow from where. Let me open this. This is a supply direct emission. Just for the reference, I will open this and open edit transformation. Don't give view, otherwise in view only the data available in the transformation. In the data set after transformation will only, as you will see, you can do the click and give edit transformation. In here I can see that here. When they import this, it has some error, some went wrong. There might be some issue with the data set, but they have added a stage with the name of manage field. Manage field. What it does is it rearranges the things. Here you can see that include 13 out of 14 fields. It seems that they have hidden the supplier field over here. That is one transformation which I've done. They have changed the naming convention as here in supplier with there wasn't any space between them. They have added a space between that supplier space with here they have hidden unnecessary. Columns also they have do a renaming here. Emission the E is small. They have made the capital. Spend category also has space between them. Here they have removed the underscore. Here we can understand that the reason behind because in table V if we do any transformation. Basic transformation is available in base dataset and advanced level transformation are available in the derived dataset. In derived dataset we came to know that in derived dataset they have did the transformation regarding renaming the field names and also hide one column into it. If I see this, I can see 14 fields and the old name, supplier name is with an underscore. If I go here, there are 13 fields. They have hidden one and supplier name is supplier space name. This is how we analyze it. Once we analyze it, we can go here and we go into edit transformation. Here where all these two table and two data sets have been consolidated. Yes, here you can see. First of all, they are importing supplier invoice staging. First of all, they are importing this table supplier invoice staging. and doing the manage field. If I go here, the import has 23 fields and they're importing this table. Now after importing, they have created a manage field in manage field. What they did, the manage field, we can see what if they have done any modifications or not. It seems that they haven't done any modifications, any visible modifications. Yes, after that we have added a join. Now that what they are doing is they have done a join with supplier invoice staging 2. They have made a join again. There might be some logic behind doing that. We can see and go over here. They have mapped supplier invoice line here and here, supply invoice line here, supplier name and here also supply name. Here they have selected all the required fields from not both of them, but from any one place. Here we can see that here the fields are different and here also the fields are different. As I mentioned you, there won't be duplication. Here there is supply line, invoice line here, and here supply name is there. Both fields are over here at supply name and supply invoice line here, but they only select it once. They select it over here in here and here, and then they haven't selected over here. Here what they did is they selected the fields which had not existed in the primary pipeline as SPTI target and T1, and they because it's not present. Once they created a field, now after the join from 23 fields, they have 26 fields, and after that they apply another join with the Datasets mapping. Rules, which field is this? It is this field, Datasets. First of all, they ingested this field and this table, and then they interested this table, detailed data set. If we see the join over here, the join also has been done on supply category value. See that they have at least used at least 2 joining key. It is important. At least for doing a join, you should at least minimum have 1 join key. But if it's 2 or 3 join key, it's best because it will help in matching the data more efficiently. Here also they have done the mapping, and here they have selected all the fields, and as I mentioned, OPID we generally use in the beginning of it, and later on we don't use it, we unselect it. You can also see over here the PIDs are unselected. It's a standard working procedure that we don't generally use EPID. They are used in the beginning of the lineage somewhere over here, but going ahead, we generally unselect it. Why? Because they are not needed. They are needed during the beginning of it for a troubleshooting that if the data is loading correctly or not. Here, for example, somebody would remove the table, the first value from them, because you talk about the columns and the rows. But what about a data set? How is the relation work if you delete a source? You're still going to have the, maybe I'm going to put this differently. If you make a data set, can you come back to this exactly? The data set lineage. You have a TBLES mapping rules report, and then you have a DDS. You have a table and then you have a data set. Because I load the data from table to data set, I still have this data in the data set. If I lose the, for example, table mapping rules report, then I'm still having this data in the derived data set. Actually, there's a big difference. That's where the role of table and dataset comes. Here what happens is in table is exclusively used for storing the data. And DDS doesn't store the data. Let's say if this table goes blank, DDS will also go blank. If table has 100 data and it's got more than it, will be 110. And DDS will also have 110. DDS doesn't store the data. It's just stored a transformation. That's why they keep on creating a table. See here also, they created a table. If the table is get deleted, then derived dataset will also be 0. But when this lineage is created, I won't be able to delete any of them in the between. If FISM identifies that if their dataset or table is connected with or has any dependency with any other object, it won't let you delete. It will give an error that, first of all, that this table or data set has dependency on any other object where, if you can see here when I click on it and scroll it down here, see it, I will see the imports. Unless this dependency is imports and data team here see data. Since tasks are also there, they are data chains downstream, there's upstream and downstream. Downstream is that it is getting the data from the downstream. Means data is flowing from from the downstream to upstream. These are the things when there. Our dependencies on it, it won't let you delete the things, and as I mentioned, when the table gets related, let's say here the table data gets blank and derived data set data will also go blank. Because derived data set doesn't store the data, it only stores the transformation details. Basically, it's kind of an equation. Because you have some value, then you have, I don't know, some transaction, and then you have the result. Yes. You can continue. I hope you got the answer. Or do you need more support? No, you told me that. It's basically that you don't. You cannot remove the tables from here because that for everything. Yes, when I give delete to it, it won't give me delete option at the first C. No delete option, but when I go to table which I created yesterday, let me search, we haven't connected with any. I think it got refreshed or what. I feel it got refreshed. Let me quickly create one and show it to that. It will show me the delete option. Why? Because it's not connected with anyone. And class is probably going to be 10, taking data from the other one. It wouldn't really get rid of the data permanently. Because it's not going to be the source of the data. It's just going to be a copy of it or something that. Here transformation is in progress. Means it's uploading the data. See, here I'm getting the option to delete it. But if I see this and if I try to delete this, I'm not getting option. The difference is that, let's see if I click on this and I can see by two ways. First of all, I can see the lineage of it. I can link on. View lineage. One option is that. Once that load, I will show it too. But when I scroll down, over here on the left, I can see data change task. First of all, dependence is non-imported by and no one is importing it. There is no any upstream data in such. There is no. In DAOs to data sensors, this will take automatically. You don't need to mention. What is downstream option? It will take automatically. Basically, it is a prisms and understanding the data is flowing upwards or downwards in the little lineage here. Everything is none. That's why I am getting an option to delete it. If I click on it, I'll get delete option. Also, if I see the lineage of it, Lineage it's alone, it's not connected with anyone. Then I will be able to delete it. Delete. But when I go to this ABI agent mapping and I open its lineage into the new tab, I will be able to see some sort of lineage into it. When I opened it, I will scroll down. Here I can see the dependencies is none, but it is imported by Able Agent Mapping DDS. There's an upstream task as, and that's the reason when I click on it, I'm not able to delete it. No delete option. Here I can see that the thing which they mentioned, it is being imported by this one. Whenever something is connected with anything, it might be derived dataset. It might be a base dataset table. If it is connected with any of the other objects, we won't be able to remove or delete it. And the second question, I will just read it, that the main purpose of the table is to mainly store the data that it makes different from base dataset and derived dataset. That's the reason base dataset and derived dataset only contains the transformational data. Base dataset will contain the import related data, how the data is being imported and how the data passing has been done, how if the file is in CS Suite, how we are modifying it or how it is. And dataset will have the transformation related things. It won't store the data. The data storing part falls for the table. And in table we won't be able to do any transformation. Apart from changing the name of the fields and all, which are some basic one and which are the one thing process. That thing there. Now you can see here also this join has been done, and here mapping also they have imported this particular fields. Apart from it, I can see two calculated fields that has been created which wasn't available. When any cal field is created, it will automatically show here that two cal fields are created, and here also I can see the two cal fields. If I'm not able to scroll it over here, then I can click on it and again click here. It will be automatically scroll it over here. Here they have created a case when condition, a case when scope category is to exclude it, then exclude it else included. They have basically capitalized this, excluded E is there. They have done the excluded or else included. Or there might be chance that there might be no one is banned. Category as included. They have created this case when condition. It might be that they are using that exclude. Is there then excluded or else included? Because there might be no any spandex or egress included over there, they have created this. Then if I go to draw for condition, then here the true or false condition is that scope category is not equal to excluded. If this condition is, if it meets, it will be true. And if it's not, then it will come as false. There is some error with this lineage. Something is wrong with this lineage. That was showing some error. But ideally it won't share error. And this is how it's created. I'm just giving a high level picture how we analyze it. First of all, we analyze the lineage. Secondly, we go into lineage and understand how the data is being connected with it and how the working is being done. Sometimes the manage field you will find in some of the work. Lineages that manage field will be there in the beginning of the transformation. Derived data set at the end as why? Because sometimes what happens is when you import the data, in some cases the field type changes. Let's say if something is into a number, it might change it. To text employee is a number, but sometimes employee is being taken into text. Or sometimes it's into something. Is it to text? It gets into numeric one. A numbers and letters inside. Yes, for that reason, the Workday suggests that as a part of standard practice, You can involve the steps into your working. Always when you import any import will be the first stage. You want to replace it or remove it or delete it. Once they import it, after that people add manage field, and after they finalize this, they will add a manage field in the last as a part of standard practice. But this is used where there are too many fields, where there are too many different objects and different fields used. During those, they will do this standard practice. You might find it that why this is unnecessary. There is no any management. There's no reason to it. But the reason is that they are just confirming that the data type is this particular one. Any questions still here? And how we can analyze this lineage and how we can do it? No, I think it's pretty clear for now. It's not if you understand this particular lineage, it's about how you analyze it. Any lineage, if I just explain for this one, then you won't be able to understand others. Every lineage will be different depending on the requirement. The main intention is to, on a high level, understand the lineage and then go into each data set and understand what transformation has been done and what has been achieved in the end. That is why it is important to name the tables and DDs in a way that you are also able to understand, because when you also develop in the beginning, you might have 2, 3, but going ahead when you finish that work, you have when it moves to product, there are chances that it might increase to 50. Data set. When there is any error coming, it will be easy for you to troubleshoot. This is how you debug or analyze any particularly. Image, you can see that when we complete this, all the walking, we name that as PD's desired data. Set PDs is nothing, it's their desired data set only. But we name as PDs. Why? Because it's published. If I click on it and if I open this view, let me open this as here we will see the difference. First of all, these are the derived data sets. The derived data set which is published in what publish is available for other people for the walking. When here you can see that this deeds is there. I just pick randomly. If I go over here, go to activities, here I can see the publishing status of it and what is the last published request. Here I can see that the 0 rows published. The rows you have published, but those are deleted. But if I see the piece supplier and go to activities, I can see that on this particular date, it ran for 5 minutes and it published 11, 15 to 9 rows. When this is published, it is available for me to review it. And how I can double check it? I can go to, let's say I can go to business object bow and search. Password. Here, if I go to view business object, I will be able to see this business object as PDs. Supplier system to Prism. Why? Because I published it. If I do the same for all these dates, I won't be able to find this DDS by searching the video. Be always what business object. You remember when you created the report, there was a business object assigned to it automatically depending on the data source you selected. You get the data set which you publish it. We just name it as Ps. There are just derived data sets, only nothing else, but we exclusively create a piece of it. We name it as PDs, which makes this Understandable that this is our published and available for the reporting purpose or analytical purpose. Here it is available. By default, Workday renames. Suffix it within a square bracket named Prism, that it is understandable and it is not a Workday delivered business object, but rather it's a Prism business object. Here all the 49 fields are there. If I go here fields, the 49 fields, all the fields. Over here the name. Everything will be same as this one. And apart from it, I go to the data sources. Data source will also be this one. Always for PIs, the data source and the business object will be the same as the name of the published data set. How we publish the data set? To publish a data set, let's say I want to publish this data set. I will go to view. I will see the activities that whether it has been published or not. No, it's not published. I will check that whether this thing is available for you or not. I will go here and I will see search. I'm not getting any data. Now what I will do is I will publish it. There are two ways. One is quick action and go publish. Otherwise, I can go in these three dots little actions and go to publish and publish data set. I can also create a schedule of it. Let's say if I'm getting a data, if I show you the lineage wise, if I get the data on regular basis, let's say daily, my data is being updated, that the update should also get published. Otherwise, let's say the data is flowing on a weekly basis. It's getting collect over here, PDS, but my PDS is not getting published. The data is over here, but when we publish it, it will be only available for the workday. That's why I can create a schedule depending on my requirement. Schedule is basic, the workday one. When I go to publish, it will ask me that the dataset is published and security will. Apply on the price and data source review, the information and security as we're publishing. Basically, the dataset will be published and the security listed here will be applied to Prism data source. Means this particular one, if I want to give access to this particular security, I can give this domain secure to them. Basically, the security guys look separate, but this is just for information I can submit. Once I give a security, submit, I will. In activity step, I can see that it's processing. I can see the processing over here. There are chances it may not, it failed because it has error from the previous. Lineage, but let's try with our working if we have any of our working available which is not published. Thank you. Thank you. Let's review its lineage and then publish. Here we can see that DDS employee is there and it's not published. If I see the published status here, if I open it in a new tab, yes, we can see it's not published. We can go here and we can go to publish, and depending on the data, it will take time to publish it. It might publish within a minute or it might run up to 10 to 15 minutes, depending on the type of data, type of transformation that has been done. Because when we do a publish, what it does is for a lineage. Let's say if we publish, for this it will publish. Do the calculation for all the data which is behind that and process it and do the latest publish of it. Sometimes it takes time depending on the type of data or type of transmission which has been done. Sometimes the time also increases if there are too many alternate processes going on. Let's say if too many data sets are getting published or too many processes happening in the background from the Workday's end, and it also hampers the publishing time. But there's a normal judgment. Just a quick, it's a good thing to know that anything which takes more than half an hour, it's generally a red flag. That why this thing is taking much time? Suddenly, it shouldn't take more than 30 minutes. It's not any particular benchmark provided by the Workday. But this is just from my personal experience, that if something takes more than 30, 35, 40 minutes, then there's some issue with it. Either it might be that servers are down from the Workday's end, or either something is missing and it's stuck in any loop. Thank you. Here we can see that total row published 26, and here I will see the published status. Based upon this, I will keep on updating. I said now 26 row published, and in this particular data set, I'm having 26 rows, but let's say going ahead I got 28 rows. What Workday will do is it will completely remove the existing one and replace it with this newer data set. Now when I click on this, for example, if you set up, this is going to be weekly schedule. You can get every week a new set of fresh data. Exactly. Every week we will get a fresh data or maybe the update of that particular data. Let's say if the worker is there and I have created data set in which the worker information has been changing. On weekly basis, I will get the updated data. Either we will update it or add the new data depending on my work. Now it's created. Now if I search it over here, see, it's available over here and I can see the details of it. It will appear. Here 11 fields are there and the same 11 fields are here. Fields 11. Land fields got published in this one, the data. Source name is also same as this one. This makes us available. Now if I want to create a report, let's say I will create a report create custom report, the tourism test report. When I search in the data source, it will be available for the data source. This is what I want to explain, is that when we publish a data set, we will be able to enable it for reporting needs. Then, first of all, what we did is we fetched the data from outside the Workday and inside the Workday. We do the transformation and again put back into the Workday that we can do the analysis. That is the main function of the Prism. It has came. And now we can see this triangle. Triangle, the symbol for triangle is for Prism. Let me show it to you. Let me give that it might show. Let's see, this triangle symbol is coming. It's for the Prism. Yes, if I click on here, it might somewhere just show me that it's not going over here. But you can see from here itself, it's Prism, and here also data source type. If it's the Workday delivered, it will come as Workday delivered, data source type. But it's Prism, it's coming. Prism primary business object same as the data. Sources generally for Workday delivered. What happens is the data source might be different. Let's say it's all workers and primary is all of our worker for HCM repair. Voting, and here primary business object will be worker, but it won't be case. And here I'll be able to find all the fields. Let's say if I want to pull this file, can we publish this one? Here performance was versus benefit. I will go here. I'll search performance versus rating. I will get this. This is how we work in this one. This is how we publish it and how we can use it for our needs. Any questions here? No, I think I'm good. We have covered how to publish it here. We will also cover how we can use this publish into discovery boards. We will cover the discovery board part tomorrow maybe. Yes, tomorrow I will be able to cover it up. I will let you cover that part at how we can discover. The board Prism will be completed today after I clean the security portion. That when you publish a data set, over there also be able to see that. How we can do the working on. From the how we can publish a data set. Just it is available for report. It will be available for the discovery board as this part is done. Now regarding the sharing part, let me pull the same example. BDS here when I click it. When I click on it, I can first of all make a copy of it. If I want, let's say I want to use the same transformation, the type of transformation, which you use again. Take a copy of it and do it. And other option I am getting is share. Share is what? And I click on share. I will get these options over here. One is relaxed sharing rules and other prevent relaxed sharing rules for derived data set. What a relaxed area. Rules, when you enable this option, Owner of the data, dataset derived from this table or dataset. Only needs of your role to help to share this. Owner of this derived data set can share it with other users as but here in the prevent relax sharing when you enable this option Workday. Revokes the relax sharing option. First study for all downstream derived data set. What does? This means relax. Sharing means, let's say if I created this, if I go to release of this, let's say I shared this one. I shared this particular linear, this particular data set with someone. If I select relax sharing rules, that person will have not only access for this one, but also for the all downstream objects as the base data set. Tables or data set. Got it. Not only this, they will have access for this one as for this. One is, but let's say if I don't select this option, I select prevent relax sharing option and it will. When you enable this option, Workday will revoke relax sharing. 154 on all downstream data set, it will only give me access to this one and will revoke for this all. I think it's very much clear regarding these two options. Because they don't want to be an opposite. Actually, no and yes, choose both of them at the same time. No, we won't be doing it because when you enable this option, Workday revokes these rules. Exactly, it has given me some alert. You will no longer be able to controlled access on any data from this table. When you give save, it will give me error, but when you enable this Workday revokes. Revoke sharing functionality, it will get revoked. At least this is functional. Here for now, for the security reasons, I have the access. When you enable owner of the dataset from this table, only needs the viewer role here to share their dataset. The owner is whoever is created. Once this is decided, then we will first of all decided what things should be visible. Then once decided it, I can go down and who has access. Who are the dataset owners? Here I can mention that Logan McNeil, who is not Logan McNeil, but let's say Caroline is there. Yes, somebody has create. Yes, here. Let me go to job. Allowed assignees data analyst. Let's say the data I have to. Now let's say there is a person who has now left the organization. I can name that person in the owner I need. To change the name of the owner, let's say person has left the organization and now I can assign carefully to it. Here, what I am doing is I am assigning a position based one. Let's say if Carol Lee also gets terminated, someone will get hired on to the same position and that same position will, or the person who will come to the same position will get this a dataset owner permissions. Am I clear or shall I reiterate this one? Yes, I already explained it. Let's say there's a manager. Let's say you are reporting to a manager. And what happens is when you want to apply the leave, when you want to get promotion, when you want to get any bonus, all the decisions are being taken by your manager. Manager is what? A position. Because manager in real life is as a person, just you. But in your organization, he has got a position of a manager because of his position in that organization. He has some control in his hands to give you, to approve your leaves, to give you bonus, to give you promotions. But it now, let's say your manager with somehow reason he is getting retired or he is leaving the organization, he is switching somewhere else and some new manager is coming. Now, because that new person also has the manager position in your organization, he will be also able to perform the same action for you which your previous manager used to do. Got it. Here, you are not giving the permission on any particular person, you are giving this responsibility, you are giving these capabilities to the position whoever occupies that position and not the person. Let's say if there's a director, director can sign the memos, but not a manager can sign. Because director, the position of the director has that responsibility. Let's say he's enabled the things that has been approved for him, that he can do these things. I think I'm clear for this part. Whoever comes to that position will be the owner of the data set. Makes sense. Because if the manager will leave, it's going to be terminated and somebody else is going to be hired into position. He will be the owner. You have the same options. Exactly. Correct. This is basically if we go to the deeper concept of security. Basically, those are there are different type of options. Security is user based or role based. This is a role based kind of a security role. By the agency, as you can see, user or security group. Role based as in manager, accountant. These are the roles. And Logan, Mendel, then Caroline, these are the individual users. I can decide if I want to give access to the accountant position or if I want to give any individual person. And I can also give editor access. I can do that, but I made Caroline. Carol Lee owner. But I can make the someone as the editor option. I can make the viewer option. To others, person who is the owner and editor access, definitely that person will have viewer access by default. Because if he is the owner and if he is able to edit it, definitely he will be able to see it. But this is exclusive. If you make the Carol Lee owner, by default, you will be able to see enough viewer. You don't need to add it over here again. Here in viewer, you will add only the people who doesn't have any of this access and who only wants to view it and not edit and own it. Got? Because viewer access is what? Just to view it. If someone owns it or someone edits, has edit access, they will be definitely able to view it with no need of reputation. We only here give you access to only people who don't have owner or edit access. This is for sharing only. No, this is for first of all for sharing. These rules are set different over here. Now who has access? Who can have this access? We are doing it. See, here we are defining the sharing things that who can. The owner of the data set only needs a viewer role here for sharing the data set. Here I mean currently the owner. That's why owner of the data set derived from this table or data set only needs a viewer role here to share the data set. If I want Carol Lee to share it with others, I can name Carol Lee over here. Now Carol Lee will have the access to share with others as currently we are logged in with a profile with Caroline Allen. But when we will go log in with the Carol Lee's access, currently Carol Lee won't able to share it. Because he is not the owner yet. We haven't done. When we assign the role to Carol Lee, do the then not only Caroline, but also this particular person will be able to share this data set with other people. Here we will consider that who can share the data set. Data set as in that we are sharing this. What we are doing is we are sharing this. And once we decide, then decide that what are the roles over here. Will be the owner of it, who will be the editor of it, who will be a viewer of it. Generally, the person who has the owner access will be able to share it with others. Let's say we did, whoever names comes, let's say here the Logan name comes. Let me check if, and some of the job family, because I assume that if you have, if you are position management and job management, then you're going to have people who are in the job management. You don't have a position exactly. If you want to give them access, what do you use? You can use position for a follower in the job management. Do you use a job mobile to give them access? That's a very good question. When we configure a staffing model, that's the reason where Workday suggests is that if you want to provide a detailed analysis, we provide a staff, we provide job management. What happens is when we create any staffing model, generally, what the standard process is that in staffing model where we need detailed analysis for the people. When we also want to report a detailed things about it, we will create a position management system, but where there are very frequent hires and fires, and we don't need any particular position based reporting. Use a job management. You can see that in organization generally, for the drivers, for the cashiers, for the warehouse loaders and loaders. Those kind of people are seasonal. They are basically hired and fired, and that. Basically, those are hired at a job management and they don't have any relation with seeing the data. But the people who are from management generally, they are basically into the position management. They are hired in the position management supervisor organization. By doing this, we will be able to report more on it because they won't be frequently had and fined. If someone joins it, basically they will at least work for 1 year, 2-year minimum. And basically those are the people from the management who will be seeing this data. That is how we do the configurations. Here how we hire a position and job management. The person was from job management. Generally they won't. Generally they will be lower in the hierarchy of the organization and they don't have any relation with seeing this data. And furthermore, let's say there is any particular let's say I ingested a data for, let's say, vehicles coming for the parking lot. I want to create a bed for a worker. I will fetch the worker from a worker details from the Workday where report, and I will fetch from other system for the parking information that which worker is bringing. Which car? Number plate of the car. Number plate or name plate of that car that is bringing. Now I publish it and I want to make it available for the others. Then inside Workday I can give the security to others. But here we are only giving based upon the dataset security. When I create a report into Workday, and in that report I can give the permission to that other workers. This is how the sharing works into the Workday. And you can give the security to the people depending on our need. Any questions still here? No, I think I'm good. I'm glad you explained that because about the report, because I'm not sure. I was pretty sure that I know some people who are in the job management and they did receive some reports, but that's a different. There is an access to the derived data set and the access to the report. It's two different things. And there is also the security on the Prism and the security in the world in general. That's good to know. I think I got it. Yes. And also here Dataset is it will have the full data, and report we can filter out the data and make only the limited data available for the job management people who are receiving that. We can apply the restriction over here in Prism. We can't apply a restriction on that basis. Please do like, share and subscribe to our channel.